Today on the Travel Magazine, we'll visit Taxco, Mexico. But first, to the beautiful Mediterranean island of Mallorca. 80 kilometers off the Alicante coast in the western Mediterranean lie the Spanish Balearic Islands. The largest and best known is Mallorca. Famous for its beauty, beaches and climate, the island of Mallorca in the Mediterranean has been a visitor's paradise for over 200 years. Hi, I'm Jake de Boer.
And I'm Mieke de Boer, and welcome to this edition of the Travel Magazine.
Join us today as we tour the capital, well known for its castle and cathedral. Visit with us the village of Valdemosa, where even Chopin lived during the winter of 1838 to 1839 and composed some of his very famous music.
I would say Mallorca has to offer a little bit of everything. Plain, mountains, rough coast, cliffs, little coasts, beaches, nice landscape, agricultural landscape as well, and mainly people very kind.
Mallorca, I think part of its attraction is obviously the climate and the fact that it's such a beautiful island. It has a lot of different areas. The north side has a lot of rocky sides, then you have beautiful beaches on the south side. And also the fact that it's so international. Anybody can come here and feel at home because there are so many different nationalities who live here.
Belver Castle in Palma is a must for every visitor.
The castle is unique for two things mainly. First, it was built at the very beginning of the 14th century, between 1300 and 1312, and they say is the best kept medieval building in Europe. And it's unique as well because it's a round castle, very unusual. You know, most castles are square or rectangular. This is a round castle.
I love the castle. You have the view of the city, this Mallorca in front of you.
Palma Cathedral is unique as well. It was built in between the 13th and the 16th century, so they worked over 300 years on it.
I think it is a beautiful island. And look at this cathedral is just something else.
Yeah, it really is very nice.
The cathedral is Gothic. The part in front of it used to be simply spare land. And they decided that the cathedral should be able to see its reflection in the sea. So they made it into a park with, in fact, a seawater lake which moves in there. And it's true, you can now see the reflection in the sea of the cathedral.
The stained glass windows, they were all made in Barcelona, a couple of them as well in Munich, in München, in Germany. But this century, from 1910 till nowadays, they're still making some of them.
The island in itself, there's only probably about an hour in a car from point to point, so everywhere's close, and this is one of the nice things about it. You can golf all year round in short sleeves here. Perhaps the time when people play golf less here is July and August when it's so hot, but certainly you see golfers out in February when half of the golf courses in the north are either under snow or with bad weather, and that's when tourists like to come down here to play. In fact, tourists are welcome here, and there's a very big tourist season. Winter tourism on the island is basically due to golf or to cycling here.
In Mallorca there are a lot of beaches all around the island, practically coves with secluded nice little beaches and a couple of long beaches as well.
Although the tourist season runs from May to October, Mallorca's moderate climate makes it an attractive travel destination year-round.
There are a number of sailing ports on the island, and in fact in summer a lot of people come over to use Mallorca as a base to tour around in the winter time.
What is the special food of Mallorca from your point of view?
We have different sorts of rice soups, some fried specialities as well.
But what is Miguel like?
I like almost everything.
We will be back with more of the travel magazine, so stay with us.
It's quite easy to travel through the varied landscape of Mallorca by road. But one of the most spectacular routes is by train from Palma to Soler.
It's a gorgeous day.
I'm going to enjoy it immensely.
The train route from Palma to Soler, it's a little tourist train. It's used by people who live on the island because it's a quick way to get from one place to another. But one of the nicest things about the journey is that you see the orange groves. So you're going through all the orange groves, these are parts of the island that you can't see by car.
From Palma to Soler, you go first across the plain, then gets to the mountains, the long tunnel, beautiful views of the valley, the town, the mountains all around.
Was it started as a tourist train? What is the history behind it?
It started for the people, as transportation for the local people, businessmen from Soler at the beginning of this century, but now it has become one of the major tourist attractions in the island.
And then you can take the local tram from Soler down to the port of Soler. And the nice thing, of course, is to eat a big paella once you get there for lunch. Deia is a beautiful village on the north side, so you're looking straight down over the rocks onto the sea. And Deia perhaps was famous because Robert Graves lived there, who was a writer that everybody remembers for I, Claudius.
Well, this is a wonderful village to walk around in, but somebody told me about some fresh water from the mountains. Oh, here it is. Wonderful. Let me see. Here is the spoon. Water from the mountains. Now look at this. And you know what? Tastes even better because John the Baptist is looking at me. It tastes beautiful. Jake is missing something. Wonderful, now I can go on.
Tell us about Valdemosa. What makes it special?
Valdemosa is up in the mountains, a nice little town, about 1,300 inhabitants, and really a quiet place.
The village of Valdemosa, of course, is very famous because Chopin spent time here with George Sand. And in fact, you can still visit the house he stayed at, and you can see the piano that he used. There's also a beautiful church in Valdemosa.
There's a monastery here, and there's a whole story attached to the monastery. Tell us about the monastery and then the story that goes with it.
The monastery of the Carthusian monks, an order of French origin, Chartreuse, they left here 1835. And 3 years later, the new owners start to rent these little flats. Then is when turns into scene Frédéric Chopin and George Sand that they spend a couple of months here. They wanted a quiet place to work. He composed music for piano.
Several times each day, visitors are entertained by the music of Chopin in this beautiful theater located next to the monastery in Valdemosa.
So Jake, tell me the story. You've been here.
Well, Chopin lived here in the winter from 1938 to 39, and he finished some of his compositions in this very area. You know, and he got his inspiration from these flowers and this view. In fact, he lived here with George Sands, his French girlfriend. And then, after 2 months, he had to go home because he was feeling ill. In years past, painters, poets, and musicians were inspired by the peaceful atmosphere of Valdemosa.
I think that Parma as a town has a lot to offer because it has the old town and it's a nice, secure town to walk around. We have very little local crime, which is always good. Famous from Mallorca are the pearls.
Mallorca.
Artificial pearls is not natural pearls, but it's exactly the same that the best quality of the natural pearls.
And these are made here, right in Mallorca?
Yes, in Mallorca.
You've got beautiful designs.
Yes, it has a lot of designs in.
And then it makes a difference if it's gold or silver.
As you see, we have, I think, around 500 different models.
Mallorca, I think, is a magic island in the sun, in the Mediterranean, which has to be seen to be believed.
We will be back with more of the Travel Magazine just after this, so stay with us.
Taxco in Mexico is a unique colonial city whose houses and buildings cascade down the hillside. It is not only well known for the silver that is produced, but also for the artistry that is created. But as you walk the cobblestone streets, you soon realize that silver is not the only thing it is rich in.
Taxco really is being the heart of silver in the world since the time that the Spaniards came here. Because of the topography of Taxco, it's not like many other cities in the world where you have the new Taxco and the old Taxco. Taxco has a law that you have to build your home as long as it is within a colonial background. So you have the Taxco that is permanently being touched in a way that one thing coincides with the other, and it's as if time is stopped. Taxco was little streets exactly like the little town where we live right now. Taxco doesn't have sidewalks, but it's very charming. I think that if you walk through all of the streets, you will appreciate it. So it's not bad after all. Taxco was never designed to be a city for cars. The Volkswagen is the only car that during the rainy season will not, slide down. It is very small, very fast, and they take the front seat. And you are able to fit a whole living room of people in there, and you go up and down these roads of Taxco, which some of them are very steep hills.
I had a red one, and I had a white one, and I had a blue one. It brings back such nice memories.
We are on the main center of the city of Taxco, which we call a square, Plaza Borda is the name of this square. That's on the memory of the miner who paid for the beautiful church that we have here. His last name was Borda, first name Joseph de la Borda. Most of these people that you see selling things are people who live nearby Taxco in the mountains and the small little villages, which they do a very beautiful work on art, especially things made out of straw, paper mache, wood carvings, and also some paintings. From this part of Mexico, beginning from the state of Morelos, farther down south to, say, to Acapulco, we are natives and our culture was the Tlahuica Chontal. That's where we are descendants, from this culture.
What language do they speak?
They speak a dialect, sir. They have a dialect, but they also do speak Spanish.
Yes.
And their own villages, they speak their own dialect. And here they speak Spanish. These two ladies, they come from Xalitla. That's the name of the little village.
Yes.
And that part of this area, they make these very beautiful things of handicrafts, which are made out of native stones from this area. These are agates.
Yes.
Obsidian, turquoise, lapis lazuli, amethyst, which is very beautiful. Obsidian
Very
and
nice.
acerina. That's another very beautiful art.
Now, this is a nice little town.
It's beautiful, Mika. Look at the architecture behind you. That dates back to the colonial times. They were architects from southern Spain that designed houses here, and some of them date back to the 16th century, even the 17th century. So it's very unique, quaint, beautiful. How else can you explain it? Tell me how you feel.
You know, it is, yeah, it's cozy and it is excitement and it is the old, this must be very old.
Jose de la Borda constructed this beautiful church of Santa Prisca because he had a Spanish saying that says, God gives to Borda and Borda has to give to God. So that's why it is a beautiful church, a magnificent church.
The church was constructed over a period of only 10 years, started in the year 1748, was finished in 1758, and he financed the church, and at that time it cost 2.5 million pesos, but that was gold pesos. That would be millions and millions today.
You must go to the Santa Prisca Cathedral.
Why?
They've got some of the finest art in that cathedral. Of course, it's all embossed in gold, pure gold. Even though it's a silver city, the cathedral, Santa Prisca, is gold.
We're in Taxco, and Taxco is silver, and I'm thinking I'm walking on silver.
Yes. Taxco has been a silver mining town even before colonial times, and the silver production has been going on strong ever since. Taxco is hollow all the way down, almost 7,000 meters down below, in several levels. It's amazing. My father has been a silversmith for over 70 years. And I was born in this place, and I've run around the gardens and gone into the workshops since I was very, very tiny, and picked up those hammers and just fell in love with the silver since I was very young.
What amazes me, all the designs. You are the head, you are looking that everybody is doing what you really have designed.
Yes.
And how do you get to these ideas?
It's inevitable. It's so wonderful to be working with silver and stones and wood. So as you are working in a prototype and doing it yourself, the silver just twists or turns, or the metal lends itself to do something else. So it's never ending. It's really wonderful.
You know, this morning somebody brought in orchids,
Yes.
and you put it
Yes.
in a silver vase.
Yes.
Now tell me, what feeling does that give you?
It just makes such a difference to be working in a place and all of a sudden to just put a beautiful flower in there. It just lights up the place, and it starts, you know, the flow of beautiful energy. And then if you put that flower on a silver container that glitters and just gives so much reflection, it just enhances 1,000% that energy. So the energy that silver and natural flowers have is, you know, it's very powerful. Taxco has a lot of really wonderful craftspeople. There is a man by the name of Ezequiel Tapia, who is a marvelous stone carver and a great silversmith, and he's been doing wonderful sculptures for competition. Each year we have a competition in Taxco, silver competition, and he's been winning that for, I think, the last 12 years.
designer articles, look like designer earrings, designer brochures, designer necklaces.
What is this, mate?
It goes around your neck, Jake.
That is
Look,
beautiful.
oh, look here. This is something you don't have. You just
That's very nice. And look at the stone in the front, huh?
believe me that this would be expensive. This must be a candle
A
holder.
candle holder made of pure silver.
And you know, the pure silver here
Yeah.
has to have 925, the stamp on it.
Oh, really?
And if it only has a stamp that says Mexico, then it's not
What is it
real.
then?
Then it's
Silver
imitation.
plated.
Yeah, silver plated. I think, Jake, this is the cutest little. We should get one and call it the travel bag.
The travel bag, now that would be a good idea.
You know, Jake, I will tell you, I don't mind having a holiday here. You know what I like about this place? I love the people. They are so friendly, and if you go into a silver store and you ask, is this real silver?
Yeah.
And if it's real silver, they say yes. And if it's silver plated, they tell you it's silver plated. So they're very honest.
Saturdays is a day that people go into the market and Taxco.
But feel how heavy it is.
Yeah.
It is very heavy. And these people make it at their house.
This is the place for tourists to come because what happens, these people are all artists that work at home, and once a week on a Saturday morning, they come to the market in Taxco and they sell their wares. And when you realize how long they have worked on one piece and what they charge,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really the
It
best
is really
silver
something.
buy I've ever seen. And you know what? I wouldn't want to bargain with these people either because they're certainly entitled to
They deserve
earn
this.
their money. Huh? Don't you
It's
think?
beautiful. Now this was a fun day.
You enjoyed Mexico?
Oh, I love it.
I love the hat on you.
Yes, and here in Taxco, it is great.
But you know what? That's it for this edition of the Travel Magazine. From Taxco in Mexico, I'm Jake de Boer.
And I'm Nieke de Boer, and adios.